Rockhounds, Rock Tumbling Fanatics. Mike here, welcome back to my channel. Hey, it's been a while since I've done a What Am I Tumbling Today video. So what are we going to do today? Well, this 6-pound tumbler back here has been in final polish for a couple weeks now. So I think it's time to crack it open and have a look at how the rocks inside are doing. So let me get it off the tumbler. I'll dump the slurry out of it and clean the rocks off. And we will take a look at them and see how they look. So let me get to work on that. Yeah, there's a lot of agate in this batch. I'm excited to see how it turned out. Petrified wood too. So let me finish getting this stuff cleaned up and the barrel too. And we'll take it back over to my tumbling lab, and we'll give it a bath in the Ultrasonic Cleaner, clean it all up. Then we'll look at the rocks close and see how we did with the tumbling. Alright, there's the rocks in the Ultrasonic Cleaner. I'm going to put a little bit of Dawn dishwashing liquid in, just a little bit. I don't want a huge foamy mess, but I want to get the rocks nice and clean, get any leftover polish off of them so that they aren't dull. Let's start the ultrasonic for about 45 minutes. My wife's getting hangry, so I'm going to go in and have an early dinner with her. But you can see what the ultrasonic's doing for me. It's getting any remaining polish off of the rocks and out of any nooks and crannies in them. So they will be just as pretty as they can be when they come out. Though I wouldn't be surprised if some of the harder rocks in here, like the banded irons, they might have to go through another polish stage. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 polish stages to make the banded iron look its best, because it's just so darn hard. I mean, that rock's like close to 2 billion years old. It's been cooking in Mother Nature's pressure cooker for so long. It is so hard. It just takes a lot of work to get it nice and shiny. But anyway, got a 45-minute countdown. So, gonna go have some dinner, make the wife happy. Okay, here they all are after coming out of the ultrasonic tank and getting dried out. These are all perfectly dry. As you can see, some of them have a nice shine on them. Actually, most of them have a nice shine on them. I'll give you a look at some individuals close up and talk a little about what they are and where I got them. In a little better lighting than this. They're just out sort of drying here right now. But yeah, we'll take a look at some of the individuals and talk about them. I would say this batch turned out really, really nice. Okay, so let me get set up for some close-ups here. Okay, so let's take a look at these rocks. I guess we'll start off with the petrified wood. Believe it or not, all this stuff is petrified wood from several different sources. The more grayish looking stuff came from either my own property or some nearby BLM land. This black one came from BLM. The rest of this stuff came from either Jim Gray's or the Dobell Ranch. I got a couple of saw cut pieces, scrap pieces from Jim Gray's when I was there. And they tumbled up very nicely, as I thought they would. Rainbow petrified wood from Arizona. These were on their $1 a pound pile out back, just saw cuts from making tables and things that they do. I'll put a link in the upper right to my visit to Jim Gray's. It's like the biggest rock shop I've ever been to, and they just have amazing stuff. It's the Jim Gray Petrified Wood Company in Holbrook, Arizona, but they have a lot of other stuff besides petrified wood, but that's what they specialize in. So these saw cuts came from there. This kind of stuff here, this is the kind of petrified wood I get on my property in Arizona and nearby. Not quite as colorful as the petrified forest stuff, but it does polish up quite nicely, as you can see. And it's quite pretty. And it's fairly transparent too. Let me get my flashlight over here. Yeah. We'll look at a couple of other pieces. Here's another piece. got some subtle colors in it. Quite transparent, translucent. Yeah. That came out nice. Let's see. Here's a piece that almost certainly, yeah, this came from the Dobell Ranch. That's a piece of private property just outside the border of the Petrified Forest National Park. And the people who own that property will let you come in and dig for your own petrified wood on their property. They've got the same kind of wood that's right across the fence in the Petrified Forest National Park. Very colorful, agatized petrified wood. Here's another piece from the Dobell Ranch. Yeah, very nice. And one more. And a little chip here. These both came from the Dobell Ranch. Very colorful. Whoops. Very colorful. Took beautiful polish. This one has a little bit of bark on the outside still, but the rest of it, very colorful, very well polished. One more piece from the Dobell Ranch. This one I really like. Let me see how close I can get a good focus on it here. It's got this spider webby veins of yellow and orange in it. It's very cool. And it looks like it's rough, but it's really not. It's got a few pits in it, but it's really taken a really nice polish. But it has a lot of little quartz pockets in it that make it look rough, even though it's not. So this is a cool rock. I really like the spider webby colored veins in it. Very cool. Now this little black rock, this is interesting. This is very atypical of the type of petrified wood I normally find out in my area of Arizona. It's usually either looks something like this, or it looks something like this. The black is kind of unusual. And, oh, look at that. We've got a little bit of a fortification pocket in it with some red fortification. It looks like a tiny little quartz pocket in the center of the fortifications. Yeah, you can see the quartz pocket didn't polish quite as well. So yeah, that's so cool. We've got agate. There's another little agate area right there by my thumb. Kind of a blue-gray. So that's cool. We've got, these fortification agates inside the petrified wood. There's some there. There's some up there. I hope they're showing up. There's some down here. So that's very cool. Very cool indeed. So anyway, that's the petrified wood. Okay, let's move on and take a look at some of these other rocks. So this is the banded iron that was in this batch. I do love banded iron. All this banded iron I collected myself out in Wyoming. And some of it is pieces cut off of larger chunks, just so I could polish them up. And some of them, like this one, were river-rounded pebbles I found. Don't tell anybody, but I think this is one of the ones I found in the parking lot of a Home Depot in Wyoming. They had a lot of great-looking gravel in the islands of their parking lot out there, and a little bit of it went home with me. And this tumbled up pretty good. I'm pretty happy with the polish that the banded iron took, even though it's only been through one polish cycle. I may look close at these and decide that one or two of them might need to go through another polish cycle. The banded iron is very, very hard, and it takes sometimes 2 or 3 polish cycles to get a good polish on it. This piece of banded iron is interesting because it has little fault planes in it, and you can see how the bands were shifted relative to one another when the faults moved. That's cool. The bands of hematite are the shiny metallic stuff, and then there's jasper in between them. Very, very cool. I do love banded iron. Here's a little flat piece of it. You can see how the different bands in it are contorted. Very cool. Here's a piece. This is actually, yeah, it's got some hematite in it, but I think this is more jasper than banded iron. And I can see it broke here while tumbling and didn't get a good polish on this side. This is more true banded iron right here. Alternating bands of hematite and jasper. And one more little piece. little shard that broke off of something bigger, but took a nice polish as it worked through all the different phases of tumbling. So that's the banded iron. Let's look at something else. You know, a while back, my buddy Jim sent me some bubblegum agates and some other miscellaneous agates, and that's what these are, bubblegum agates. So they took a nice polish in my tumbler. Some of them have really deep pits in them, which, you know, there's nothing you can do about that. But they took a pretty good polish otherwise. Interesting colors and patterns on them. This one, look at the intricate detail in that chalcedony. You've got these bold, bright, big yellow and white bands here, but you got really intricate detail in it if you look close at it. And then, you know, rotate it and you see more of the big, bold yellow and white stuff. We got a lot of pits again, but there's really nothing you can do about that. Looks like we're looking down into a quartz pocket down in there. Very cool, very cool. Yes, another very colorful bubblegum agate here. Thanks for sending me these, Jim. They're beautiful. Not sure this is so much of an agate, but it's cool. Tumble it with the rest of them. In fact, I'm not even sure this is one of Jim's. This might be something else of mine that got mixed in. And then we got this one here. Yeah, it's got some really tight little fortification bands down in there between those dark pockets. This one is odd. Jim gave me this one. I remember it. It had all these little golf ball-like dents all over the surface. I took it out of rough polish before they disappeared. I didn't want to lose all those little golf ball-like dents on it. And it's got one little area of color here with some yellow and orange in it and a little bit of black. Otherwise, it's clear. It's a very weird little agate. Cool. Weird, but cool. All right, let's check out something else. Got some green moss agate here. I've had this stuff for about exactly a year now, and it's taken a while to get it to tumble. First off, it is very, very hard. It took a long time in rough grit to smooth out. And some of these, I put them through the stage two or three times to get them to smooth out. And then I think some of them went through pre-polish a couple of times. And they spent a long time in polish. This stuff is hard. But the results are amazing. Look at the green dendrites in there. Wow. We got a little bit of fortification banding on this one, along with copious green dendrites. Yeah. Yeah, so if you get some green moss agate and you want to tumble it, be prepared. It's going to be in your tumblers for a while. Hard stuff. Got some pits in it, some deep pits. Couldn't get rid of them without tumbling the rock away to nothing. Yeah, here's another one with some interesting fortification banding in it. And again, copious green dendrites. And so we got some brown and orange stuff going on over here too. Very cool. But these are finally done, and I have some more in various stages, so there'll be more green moss agate coming out of my tumblers in the future to look at. Got sort of a mixed bag of stuff here. Here's the heel off of Montana moss agate that I cut a while back on my saw, and I just threw it in to tumble it. You can see the subtle banding in it, and you can see the black moss. Let me put a light behind it and see if the moss shows up any better. Yeah, you can see the moss in there. Black moss, yeah. So that's cool, that turned out nice. Got a couple pieces of lysite agate here. Again, these are pieces of heels, I believe, from cutting some lysite agate. And this piece especially, I think, turned out nice. I love that pattern in there. That is very, very cool. Yeah. This is a piece of Ohio flint. Ohio flint takes an amazing polish. You know, if you tumble it, it comes out so gorgeous. My wife and I were up in Ohio last spring for the eclipse, and I brought some Ohio flint home. And I've tumbled a few pieces, and this is another one that turned out really nice. Okay, what's next? I don't know if you've been watching my series of videos on rocks I buy on eBay, but the first video I did on that, I was not happy with the rocks I got. Most of them were too small to tumble. Most of them were junk. Didn't look like they would turn into anything. But there were a few good ones in that batch. And here they are, finally done. Got a couple pieces of stuff that look like youngite here. And they came out looking really nice. I'll get a good focus on them here. I'm not 100% certain that this one here is youngite, but this one certainly looks like it. Whatever this one is, it came out nice too. So these two came out really nice. Another piece of Montana moss agate, a small piece, but it polished up really nice. There was a broken cabochon in there. I'm not sure what sort of agate this was made from, but it obviously had some black moss in it, some dendrites. Maybe another type of, I don't know what kind of agate that was. But anyway, I threw the broken cabochon in and tumbled it, and it came out really nice. Some kind of agate. No idea. Very colorful. So this came out pretty nice. And then this agate here, this is probably by far my favorite piece out of that batch of eBay rocks. And I did not have high hopes for this, but when I threw it in there, there was matrix all over it, and I could not see any of this agate goodness. I could just see basically the clear part here, and I knew there was some chalcedony in it. But after tumbling, look at that pattern. Look at that pattern. No idea what sort of agate this is. It looks like it's maybe a little sagonitic over here. But black and white and beautiful. Holy cow. So that first batch of eBay rocks, even though I was not happy with them and did not recommend the seller, there were a few good rocks in it, but, you know, out of a pound of rocks, this was all I got that was any good. So I'm sticking by my non-recommendation of that seller. What else have we got? Well, every year, my wife and I go out to the White River Badlands of Nebraska to go fossil hunting. And out in the Badlands, there are these fault lines. And the fault lines get filled with chalcedony. And it's broken up. It's all scattered all over the landscape. We actually cuss the stuff because in some places it looks like bones. And it makes it hard to differentiate the chalcedony from the bones, the fossilized bones. I decided to collect a few pieces and try tumbling it. And this one turned out okay. It's rough on this side, but you can see it's got some subtle fortification banding there. But this one's got, you know, much darker colors in it and some banding. And then over here on this side, yeah, look at the fortification banding in there. Yeah, here's another piece. Lots of black dendrites in it. Yeah. And another piece. The patterns in them are subtle, but they're there. Let me put the flashlight behind it again. Yeah, look at that. Isn't that cool? And then this one here, this one's one of the more colorful ones. It's got lots of orange, red, yellow in it. Yeah. Very cool. So on days when I'm not finding a lot of fossils out there when we're fossil hunting, I'll be scouting around for pretty pieces of chalcedony to bring home and tumble instead. Okay, well, that's not even all the rocks, but that should give you some good idea of what came out of this batch. I'm pretty happy with it. There's a bunch of other miscellaneous rocks over here. So there they all are. I think this batch turned out pretty nice. Couldn't be much happier with them. Like I said, some of these banded irons I may, like maybe this one, I may put in, I think I can do a little bit better on the polish on this one. I'll look at the others and see if they need to go through another. I think this one turned out really nice, so it may not need to go again. I'll look at them all and decide. But on the whole, I am pretty happy with this batch of rocks. If you guys are happy with the way this batch turned out and with my tumbling videos, give it a like, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to see my future videos. There'll be more rock cutting videos, more rock hounding videos. I'm trying to get into the lapidary arts and do some cabbing and some other stuff, so subscribe to see those future videos. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks a lot for watching this one. Bye.